We are live.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I'll call this meeting of the. Somebody's got a need to put on mute. Whoever's. I'm going to call the meeting of the Westfield, Washington Township Board of Zoning Appeals to order at 7 p.m. for our December meeting. First item on the agenda is note the presence of quorum. Staff.
Ms. Fortier.
Here.
Mr. Morales.
Here.
Mr. Schmitz.
Here.
Mr. McCarty.
Here.
Mr. Bowler.
Here.
We have quorum.
Thank you. Next item for consideration is approval of the minutes from the November 9th meeting. I've had the opportunity to review those. Does anyone have any questions, comments, changes? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
I have no questions, comments, or changes, and I'm making a motion to approve the minutes for November 9th, 2021.
I second that.
Motion and a second, Fortier and Bowler to approve the minutes of November 9th. Dane, can you call the roll, please?
Ms. Fortier.
Yes.
Mr. Morales.
Yes.
Mr. Schmitz.
Yes.
Mr. McCarty.
Yes.
Mr. Bowler.
Yes.
We had minutes are approved.
Motion carries. We have 4 items on the agenda tonight that all require public hearings. So Dane, can you review the rules and procedures, please?
Yes, due to the COVID-19 emergency as declared by the Governor of Indiana, the format and conduct of the meeting has been modified to comply with executive orders regarding the conduct of public meetings, public hearings, and public gatherings. Relevant portions of the Indiana Open Door Law have been amended or suspended during the pendency of the emergency. For the items requiring a public hearing, tonight's meeting has the following structure. The department will summarize the petition, and the petitioner will be given up to 15 minutes to present to the board. The president will open a public hearing. Individuals will be given 3 minutes to speak. The public hearing will be closed when all interested members of the audience have had a chance to be heard and all emails received during the meeting have been provided to board members. The petitioner will then have a chance to respond to comments, and the board will follow with any comments, questions, or concerns regarding the petition. The rules of conduct this evening, please do not disrupt the proceedings in any way. If you need to have a private discussion, we ask that you please quietly exit the room. Please silence your devices at this time. If you must answer them, please quietly exit the room. If you are attending in person and wish to speak in regards to a petition scheduled for a public hearing, please fill out a yellow card. They are available up here next to Caleb. Once the public hearing is opened by the president, then please provide us your yellow card as you approach the podium. During your comments, please state your name and address into the microphone for the record. We ask that you not repeat previously stated comments. Your presentation will be timed and you will be advised when there is approximately 30 seconds remaining. If you are not attending in person, comments regarding a petition should be emailed to planners@westfield.in.gov with the petition name or number included in the subject line. Those comments will be forwarded to board members and the petitioner. And we would like to remind everyone to please speak directly into the microphone so your comments can be put on the record. Also, please mute your microphone when not speaking. Thank you.
Thank you. First item on the agenda is 2112 VS 44, 1589 South Waterleaf Drive, Landworks Engineering LLC, seeking a variance of development standard to allow a dumpster enclosure within the front yard setback of the property in the Harmony PUD. And that is Caleb.
Thank you, President, members of the board. For the record, Caleb Ernest with the Community Development Department. The project before you tonight is a variance of development standard to allow a dumpster enclosure within the front yard setback of the property located at 1589 South Waterleaf Drive. The property is zoned the Harmony PUD District, and all adjacent properties are also zoned the Harmony PUD District. This item is before you for a public hearing. It has been properly noticed and advertised, and staff has received no public comments. Kelly Cantor with Landworks Engineering is here and plans to make a brief presentation. Afterwards, both she and I will be available for questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ooh, okay. I'm Kelly Cantor with Landworks. As Caleb said, we're seeking a variance for our dumpster location. So our dumpster location is right there, thank you. The issue that we were having is that we have 3 front yards and 1 very tiny side yard. In developing this property, we decided to put it there. We had looked at putting it on the building, but the user did not want that. They wanted it across so that they could have safe exits out the back. This is a dentist office. They wanted safe exits out the back to go around for fire and safety. So we decided to put it across, but that is in our front yard. So that is why we're seeking the variance. And I'm here for any questions.
Thank you. We'll go ahead and open the public hearing and then let you respond to any testimony we hear. I'll open the public hearing at 7:05. Do we have any cards or electronic transmission?
We have no cards and no emails at this time.
Anyone who's listening virtually and wants to comment on this or any other case, planners at westfield.in.us, is that right?
.gov.
.gov. Planners at westfield.in.gov. Great. Anything, Dane?
No emails.
I'll close the hearing at 7:06. Do board members have any questions or comments for the petitioner?
So is it just the
Staff.
dentist office that's there? Or is there going to be any other?
It'll just be a dentist office, yes.
Okay. And that's closer to the back anyway. It's facing, even though it's on the side, it's towards the back, correct?
That is correct, yes.
That's all I have.
I have one question. It doesn't look like from this picture that there's any residential close to that, is that right?
I believe there's an apartment complex to the west.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's
the
all retail.
location map is a
Okay.
little outdated here, the aerial. It was just
Yeah.
before the aerials got updated here, but just to the west here is the clubhouse for the apartments. And
Okay.
then this property right here are the apartments right now.
Okay,
This property is vacant.
that's good, thank you.
That's probably, given the road layout, that's probably the optimal location to be less visible from 146th Street. And it is a compliant enclosure, correct? The masonry and there wasn't relief in the PUD for dumpster enclosures, right?
Correct.
I know we're not. Okay, thank you. We're not seeking anything in the variance. Any other questions? I'll entertain a motion on this petition.
I'll make a motion to approve 2112-VS-44, 1589 South Waterleaf Drive, with the following recommended conditions: that 1, the dumpster enclosure only be permitted in the front yard as shown and in substantial compliance with Exhibit 3, and 2, that the petitioner shall record an acknowledgement of this approval with the Hamilton County Recorder's Office and return a copy of the recorded instrument to the Community Development Department.
I'll second.
Motion by Mr. McCarty, seconded by Ms. Fortier to approve 2112 VS 44, subject to the two staff recommended conditions for approval. Staff, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Morales?
Yes.
Mr. Buller?
Yes.
Mr. Schmitz?
Yes.
Mr. McCarty?
Yes.
Ms. Fortier?
Yes.
Motion carries.
And I will make a motion to adopt staff's findings of fact for the approval of this petition.
I'll second that.
Motion by myself, seconded by Mr. Bowler to adopt staff's findings of fact for the approval of 2112 VS 44. Dane, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Morales?
Yes.
Mr. Buller?
Yes.
Mr. Schmitz?
Yes.
Mr. McCarty?
Yes.
Ms. Fortier?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Very good, thank you, you're approved. Next item on the agenda is 2112 VS 45 Monon Hills subdivision, seeking a variance of development standard to increase the maximum sign area of a residential monument sign from 32 square feet to 140 square feet in the Monon Hills PUD district. And again, staff review is by Caleb.
Thank you, President, members of the board. Again, Caleb Ernest with the Community Development Department. Project before you tonight is a variance of development standard to increase the maximum sign area of a residential monument sign from 32 square feet to 140 square feet in the Monon Hills PUD district. The property is zoned the Monon Hills PUD district, and the variance request is for the Monon Hills subdivision entry. Adjacent properties to the west, north, and east are zoned the Viking Meadows PUD. And the adjacent property to the south is zoned the AGSF1 district. The item has been properly noticed and advertised. It's up for a public hearing. Staff has not received any public comments. Noah Heron of Heron Holdings is attending virtually. He does not plan on presenting, but he is available for any questions should you have any for him, and I'm available for questions for staff. Thank you.
Great, thank you. In the absence of presentation, I'll go ahead and open the public hearing at 7:11. Do you have any cards, electronic communication?
We have no emails at this time.
Okay. Anything?
We have no emails.
Close the public hearing at 7:12. Members of the board, any questions for the petitioner?
I have a couple
Or
of
staff.
questions. So the gate, is it going to be, Noah, is that going to be an automatic gate?
Yes, that's an automatic gate.
Okay. How many homes are in Monon Hills? Currently, there's just a couple, correct?
There's one that was existing, and then my house, and then there's 3 more being built. So
Okay.
a total of 5.
Total of 5, correct?
Yep.
Okay, no plans to do anything else other than that?
No, we don't. There's nope.
It was limited, the last variance was.
Okay.
Noah,
That's it.
could you talk us through the materials? Your rendering of the sign looks pretty similar to the Valley View sign that's on our screen now. It
Yeah,
has
so
a
that's
big-
why we want to use pretty much the same materials, be very consistent with what Valley View looks like, same size. Our brick might be a little bit different. I think we showed an example of our brick. If not, I can send it over, but same size as theirs. I went and measured. There's 4 of these monument signs down 156th Street, and they're all pretty much consistently like 120 to 130 square feet in size. So we want to kind of replicate those and be very similar to what's already currently there.
I appreciate that. I think those are really attractive entry monuments. So you would have a masonry wall like they have in their stone product or whatever that is, and yours would be brick, and then would you have that substantial wood? The gates would be that thick kind of stuff like that, or are you gonna have metal or what?
Yeah, so the gates are a little bit different. I've talked to a couple different people, and the wood that they're having some trouble with the wood on theirs. So we went with metal. It's a commercial type metal. I've spoken with 3 or 4 different companies, and then we got the largest gauge that they offered, and really wanted something kind of thick and like that would withstand some time to it. So we went with a really nice material. We honestly can't even get it until April, but it's already ordered, and it would be ordered. I mean, if this gets approved, we'll keep the order. But yeah, we went with like a thicker gauge metal.
Question for staff, do we have anywhere where materials are of record with the sign, or is it
So one of the conditions of the staff report is that it's substantially compliant with exhibits 3 and 4. This
Okay.
entry sign is exhibit 4.
Okay,
If there's any concern about the wood that's shown in this one versus the metal, again, a substantial nature, so it's kind of up to your call on that. I do not believe we have any exhibits showing the metal that he was referring to, but if he can send that over to us, we can have that on file.
no, would you have any objection to just writing on that exhibit on the final version that we end up with, just have some description of what those materials are? Both for the face of,
Not all. I have the size of it and dimension, or the dimensions and material and all that already. So I'll just send over that as well.
okay, I'd be more comfortable with that, thank you. Anything? And I assume that's, what we're approving 140, so the sign is the entire 20-foot wide deal, right? So 20 foot by 7 feet high, is that the?
Correct. Yeah.
Gotcha. Any other questions, concerns, anything for staff or the petitioner? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve 2112 VS 45 with the conditions for approval that the sign be installed in substantial compliance with Exhibit 3 and 4, and that the petitioner shall record an acknowledgement of this approval with the Hamilton County Recorder's Office and return a copy of the recorded instrument to the Community Development Department.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Fortier, seconded by Mr. Morales to approve 2112 VS 45, subject to the two stated staff conditions. Dan, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Buller,
Yes.
Mr. Schmitz,
Yes.
Mr. McCarty,
Yes.
Ms. Fortier,
Yes.
Mr. Morales.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you, and I'll make a motion to adopt staff's findings of fact for the approval of this petition.
I second that.
Motion by myself, seconded by Mr. Buller to adopt staff's findings of fact for the approval of 2112 VS 45. Dan, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Buller,
Yes.
Mr. Schmitz,
Yes.
Mr. McCarty,
Yes.
Ms. Fortier,
Yes.
Mr. Morales.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you,
Thank you.
and your thing's approved. Thank you, Noah.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, or for all four petitions? Yes. Okay. Next item on the agenda is 2112 VS 46, 18148 Lake Winds Drive, Mudslingers, Inc., seeking a variance of development standard to encroach 3 feet into a 25-foot rear yard setback due to a foundation error for a swimming pool and deck. And the staff report is from Dane.
Good evening, members of the board. For the record, Dane Crabtree with the Community Development Department. The item before you this evening is a variance of development standard request to encroach 3 feet into the 25-foot rear yard setback at 18148 Lake Winds Drive, which is a .31 acre parcel located in the Lakes at Shady Nook subdivision. The need for the variance arises due to a foundation error for a swimming pool and deck. The certificate of occupancy for the pool was issued on October 8th, 2021, which showed a set of compliant plans when the building permit was received. However, the concrete contractor who was working off a set of plans that showed the pool 3 feet closer to the lot line. The discrepancy between the site plan that accompanied the building permit and the actual placement of the pool was only noticed after completion. Therefore, the pool as it exists today is not legal. This item has been properly noticed and advertised. The department has received no public comments. A representative from Mudslingers is present this evening virtually. They do not plan to make a presentation, but are available for questions if you have them.
Thank you. Again, in the absence of a petition, I will just go ahead and open the public hearing at 7:19. Do we have any cards or electronic communication?
I'm inputting my passcode completely wrong, apparently.
I'm gonna leave it open for a
There we
couple
go.
minutes, so no hurry.
No, nothing.
All right.
No communication.
Close the public hearing at 7:21. Members of the commission, any questions for the petitioner? Appears this lot has a little sliver of common area behind it, so the people behind it are even, there's nobody right up against that back lot line, which is always good when we're pushing against the setback line. Anything, gentlemen? I will entertain a motion on this petition.
I'll make a motion to approve 2112-VS-46, 18148 Lake Winds Drive, with the following recommended findings for approval. One, oh, no, that's not right. Conditions, sorry.
So very
That's
end.
my bad. That, one, that the property be developed in substantial compliance with Exhibit 3. Two, that no structures other than those permitted by the UDO and the swimming pool and deck shown in Exhibit 3 shall be permitted to encroach into the 25-foot minimum rear yard setback without an additional variance. And three, that the petitioner shall record an acknowledgement of this approval with the county recorder's office and return a copy of the recorded instrument to the Economic and Community Development Department.
Thank you. May I have a second?
Second.
Motion by Mr. Bowler, seconded by Mr. Morales to approve 2112 VS 46, subject to the recommended conditions in the staff report, 3 of them. Staff, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Schmitz?
Yes.
Mr. McCarty?
Yes.
Ms. Fortier?
Yes.
Mr. Morales?
Yes.
Mr. Bowler?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you, and I'll make a motion to adopt staff's findings of fact for the approval of 2112 VS 46,
Second?
seconded by Mr. McCarty, motion by myself. Staff, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Schmitz?
Yes.
Mr. McCarty?
Yes.
Ms. Fortier?
Yes.
Mr. Morales?
Yes.
Mr. Bowler?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you, your petition's approved.
Thank you very much.
You don't have to scream it. Gonna scare people. Fourth and final item on the agenda tonight is 2112 VU 09-4202 West State Road 32. And the petitioner, J-Mac Holdings by Joy Skidmore, seeking an extension of the existing variance obtained July 18th, 1994, permitting a machine shop use on the property. And staff review is by Dane.
Good evening, members of the board. For the record, Dane Crabtree with the Community Development Department. The item before you this evening is a request to extend an existing variance of use at 4202 West State Road 32, a 29.18 acre property zoned AGSF1 agriculture single-family rural. The variance that is requested to be extended was obtained at the July 18th, 1994 BZA meeting. The previously approved variance permits a machine shop use on the property with 6 conditions. One of the conditions that the variance was granted only to the owners Philip and Royanne Hams, and their heirs. Because the prospective buyer of the property is not the owner of the property at the time, nor an heir to those owners, a new variance is needed. With the exception of the granting of the variance to the owner and their heirs, the remainder of the previously approved conditions are proposed to continue and are included within staff's list of 7 conditions recommended in the staff report. This item has been properly noticed and advertised. The department did receive 1 public comment in favor of the petition, which has been forwarded to you this evening. Joy Skidmore, representing the petitioner as well as the prospective buyer, prospective future owner of the property, are present this evening. They do not plan to make a presentation, but are available if you have any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. One thing that I wanted to ask about was just as staff, as to the conditions, the proposed conditions, on the maximum number of 10 employees and the maximum number of 10 vehicles. You have the clause related to the variance. Why is that there? Is there an anticipated to be more parking and more employees, just they wouldn't be machine shop people? Or
I mean, yeah, if you were to, I guess my thought there was if there were 10 employees on the property, but then 10 additional people just there on the property for some other means, technically they would not be in compliance with just the maximum of 10
Okay.
Cars on the property. It would mainly be for the car element rather than the employees. Obviously, if they're 10 employees, they're related to the use only.
Sure. And I noted that this one had a sunset provision based on the ownership of the prior owners, but we don't have anything recommended here for a time frame. Was there a reason for that?
Not specifically. The previous variance was granted in 1994, which was 27 years ago. So
Right.
clearly there wasn't much of a concern at the time for having a known sunset provision. So, and with the lack of concern from neighbors and everything like that, and frankly, with the use being on the cusp of being in what the comprehensive plan talks about, the employment corridor, it probably isn't that completely off
Not
base.
far off.
So,
You may have just said it, there has not been enforcement actions, or this wasn't brought about by,
correct, zero
Issues
enforcement within the entire 27 years that this has been active.
great, thank you. Any other questions or comments?
What kind of machine shop do you do? What do you make?
If you'll step up and then hit the microphone button and state your name and address for the public record, please.
My name is Matt Quanrud. I am owner of JMac Holdings and also the tenant that's leasing the machine shop. We're a custom fabrication company. We do ornamental gates, staircases, railings, primarily architectural custom works. One you might be familiar with is the gates in the Grassy Branch edition. There at Bridgewater. We did all the gates and fencing around there, so
Oh.
that's
No chemicals or anything like that that you store?
No, I mean, we have some small gallons of solvent type thing, but no mass chemicals. The only thing that could potentially be considered that is we have a liquid nitrogen tanks on the outside of the building for our laser cutter. The fire department's been out and seen those and had
Sure.
lengthy discussions about them as well, so.
Yeah. Okay, great, thank
Have you
you.
been operating on that property?
I started
already?
renting from Phil Hammis in 2012.
Oh, okay.
And
So you've been there operating. So
Yeah.
you're not changing your operation, it's simply
Nothing's
because
changing.
of the change of ownership that this is
Right.
necessary.
Correct.
Gotcha. Any other questions, concerns, anything from petitioner or staff?
Just, we're leaving the recommended conditions as is, we're not adding any, just so I know.
Well, it's
when
up to you.
reading it.
Did I do the public hearing? I didn't think
No.
so. Okay. Go ahead and, if you have any comments on that, we can discuss it. Did you?
No, I
feel
just want to
like-
make sure if I did a motion, I want to make sure I had everything required.
Okay, well, let me open the public hearing first. I'm gonna open the public hearing at 7:30. And we must not have any cards, and
No cards and no emails.
we do have the email we can review. Any communication, Dane?
We have no emails.
Thank you. I will close the public hearing at 7:31. Do we have any additional questions, comments, concerns? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion on this petition.
I'll make a motion to approve 2112-VU-094202 West State Road 32 with the following recommended conditions. 1, the variance of use shall be restricted to the existing structure and the parking area in the front yard of the property as identified in Exhibit 4. The existing structure shall not be expanded beyond its existing building footprint as of December 14th, 2021. No outside storage shall be permitted with the exception of employee or business vehicles. Business and/or employee vehicles shall be permitted to be stored in the area generally identified as parking area in Exhibit 4. No commercial trailers shall be stored on the property. A maximum number of 10 employees related to the variance shall be permitted on property, and a maximum number of 10 vehicles specifically related to the variance shall be permitted on the property at any given time.
I'll second that.
Thank you. Motion by Mr. McCarty, seconded by Mr. Buller to approve 2112 VU-09, subject to the 7 recommended conditions in the staff report. Dane, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. McCarty?
Yes.
Ms. Fortier?
Yes.
Mr. Morales?
Yes.
Mr. Buller?
Yes.
Mr. Schmitz?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you, and I'll make a motion to adopt staff's findings of fact for the approval of 2112 VU-09.
I'll second.
Motion by myself, seconded by Ms. Fortier to adopt staff's findings of fact for the approval of 2112 VU-09. Dane, can you call the roll?
Mr. McCarty?
Yes.
Ms. Fortier?
Yes.
Mr. Morales?
Yes.
Mr. Buller?
Yes.
Mr. Schmitz?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Thank you, you're approved.
Merry Christmas.
All right, finishing up, we have reports, comments, Plan Commission liaison.
Yes. So we had a hefty meeting from the Planning Commission. Try to read through my chicken scratch here. Items of business that we suspended the rules for sign for the Total Engineering Solutions. We once again heard the town-run PUD, but no action was taken this time around, even though we were scheduled to do so. No action was taken at that time. A lot of discussion revolved around reducing the townhomes, just reducing the density in general, so we'll see what that looks like when it comes back. And then public hearing items, the South Park Industrial ODP was 3.7 acres with 2 light industrial buildings between Oak Ridge and Monon Trail. It was originally approved in 2003. Casey Corner ODP and primary plat, 80 lots on 11 acres. That was approved a couple months ago, and just again ODP and primary plat with that. Springwater PUD, east side of Union, across from Leonard Commons. This was new to us. It's the Beauchamp property where they have their why can't I think of it? Antique, thank you. I was thinking of artifacts for some reason. Hey, Bowler said that, not me. But it's a very interesting concept between different scaling, townhomes, apartments, not apartments, excuse me, just townhomes, and then single-story uses. Mainly a retirement community based on the age range, price range that is given for that. There were several public comments along the lines of just making sure, being a good neighbor to already existing properties. So we'll take another look at that when it comes back for approval, but overall a good discussion with that. So yeah, that was it.
Thank you. Community Development Department.
No comments. We did get 3 or 4 variances, so we'll see in January.
Very good. I will entertain a motion to adjourn at 7:36.
I'll make a motion to adjourn and wish everyone a Merry Christmas.
I second that.
Motion and second to adjourn. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. We are adjourned. Thank you.
Merry Christmas.